This is a tutorial on how to use my script. So go to scripting, run script, select the script. Now right click on the main toolbar, go to customize, go to toolbars, now drop down to exporter and click on exporter, drag and drop it on my main toolbar, and now this button appears. When you press this button, my script pops up. First, let's go over the edit object functionalities. So this is just used to edit some single objects if you want to. So you can select them, use selected objects. Now it makes a copy of the existing objects, so if you screw up, you don't have to worry about it. You can scale them to these programs. If you model them with 3ds Max units, you might want to use it because the units in 3ds Max are way smaller than Unity 5 and Unreal Engine. You can also scale them on whatever scale you want with these buttons. You probably don't want to scale them separately, the X, Y and Z axis, so you can just scale proportional. So you can just scale the object however you want. You can also just use the Unity 5 scale, for example. So now it converted the 3ds Max smaller units to the bigger Unity 5 units, if you didn't already model it in Unity 5 units. It's a copy, so you can feel free to delete it if you screwed up, so I'm gonna delete those. Now you can also reset the scale, reset the rotation, pivot to origin, object to origin. You don't have to put the object to the origin because the exporter will do that automatically. If you have objects like me with multiple material IDs and you want to detach them, you can pick the mesh and ID detacher, and now it will detach the mesh in different objects using the IDs. If you want them attached back again, just select them, attach selected objects, and now it's one mesh again. If you want to create a multi-sub object material, you can just open your materials by pressing M on your keyboard. So open up your materials. Then this number will generate the amount of materials in your multi-sub object. So maybe 10, create multi-material, and now it creates a material with 10 materials in it. So if I drag it on there, you can see the different material IDs. So that can be quite useful. That's it for the edit object. Now the exporter itself. Just select the objects you want to export. So let's select those. You can see I have here a mill with a collision box around it that I made with the name UCX mill for the Unreal Engine in this mill. So I already have this collision made, so you don't have to select it, because if you click this export corresponding collisions, it will search this collision and export it with the mill automatically. If you have objects without a collision like these, you can just create collisions if not found, and the vertices are the max amount of vertices used in the collision mesh, so about 10, 15 or 20 maybe max. And the inflate is the amount of inflation the collision mesh will get, because if you put 0 there, the collision mesh may be too tight, so some of the mesh sticks through, so about 5 works fine. If you go too big, the collision mesh will also be too big, so you probably want to keep it on 5. Then naming. If you don't put anything here, it will just take the name of the mesh. So for this one, it will take well2. But you can also name it whatever you want. I'm not going to do it now because they all have names. So yeah, prefix and suffix if you want. So maybe this, for example. So now this mesh, if it's exported, it will be called my game well2 alias, for example. This is the folder where it will be exported to. Okay, so now it will be exported in my Unity project. So now in the meshes there's nothing here. When I export it, it will be exported to this map. The path is also saved in your max.ini files, so you don't have to put it in again and again. You can choose between FBX and OBG. I want FBX. Unity rotation, yes, because I'm exporting to a Unity Unity project. And export separately, so all my meshes will be exported separately in unique files and not in one file. So yes. And now click the export. And it exported everything. You can see the collision meshes it's created. So UCX well to UCX crystal. For this Unity project, it's not very useful, but if you're exporting to Unreal, this will be quite handy. When I check my Unity project now, if it wants to open up, yes, here it is. You can see the meshes are exported with the materials in my mesh folder and with the collision meshes. Unity doesn't really use this UCX collision mesh, but for Unreal Engine it does so. Yeah, that's it. Here's also a contact link and a tutorial which will contain this tutorial. Bye.